Most businesses don't fail because their product is bad. They fail because the work lives inside people's heads. One employee leaves, processes vanish, mistakes multiply, training slows down, money leaks, quietly. According to U.S. labor studies, employee turnover costs companies 20% to 30% of an employee's annual salary. And most of that loss comes from one thing most companies ignore: undocumented work. Here's what almost nobody tells you. U.S. companies already pay $3,000 to $12,000 per month to people whose only job is turning operational chaos into clear documentation. No apps, no ads, no hype, just writing down how work actually gets done. Today, I'm breaking down one overlooked role businesses quietly depend on: process documentation specialist. Before we go further, I want your input. If you're already working a job, managing people, or training others, does this sound familiar? And if someone in your family or circle wants to start something real, not risky, not flashy, share this video with them. This path is invisible, but it's practical. Drop your initial thoughts in the comments as we go. Now let's get into it. I'm Alex Carter. I'm an AI researcher voice built to break down real work, real roles, and real demand. Not trends, not hype businesses. I don't talk about what might work. I talk about what companies already pay for. And this role exists because of a problem most businesses ignore until it hurts. Every business runs on processes: hiring, training, client onboarding, operations, reporting. But in most U.S. companies, these processes aren't written anywhere. They live inside people. Someone just knows payroll. Someone handles onboarding. Someone remembers reporting. It works until that person is sick, promoted, or leaves. Then everything slows down. New hires take weeks longer to become productive. Managers answer the same questions every day. Errors increase. Deadlines slip. This isn't a talent problem. It's a documentation problem. U.S. businesses lose billions of dollars every year due to rework, retraining, and operational mistakes caused by undocumented processes. Executives know this. Managers feel this. But nobody has time to fix it. Documentation gets postponed because it doesn't feel urgent until something breaks. That's where this role exists. Now, let me be very clear about what this work is and what it's not. A process documentation specialist doesn't redesign the business. They don't consult. They don't make strategy decisions. They do one thing extremely well. They extract knowledge from people's heads and turn it into clear, usable, written processes. The work starts by observing and asking questions. How is this task done? Who does it? In what order? What tools are used? Where do mistakes usually happen? Nothing is optimized yet. Nothing is judged. Accuracy comes first. That information is then structured into documents anyone can follow. Step-by-step instructions, decision points, inputs, and outputs, clear responsibilities, written. So, a new hire can follow it. A manager can review it. A team can repeat it without guessing. Typical deliverables include SOPs, training guides, onboarding documents, role-specific task lists, and workflow diagrams. The specialist documents reality, not opinions. That's why companies trust this role. It removes dependency on individuals and replaces it with clarity. Now, who actually pays for this? Not individuals, not early-stage startups with no revenue. This work is paid for by operating U.S. businesses, usually with 10 to 100 employees. At this size, something specific happens. They're too big to rely on memory, and too small to afford chaos. Common buyers include professional service firms, logistics and warehouse operations, manufacturing teams, healthcare admin and support services, growing tech companies after their first scale phase. They all face the same pain: high turnover, long onboarding, inconsistent quality managers stuck answering basic questions. They don't pay for documentation because it's interesting. They pay because it saves money. Clear processes reduce training time, errors, and management dependency. That's why pricing is practical, not emotional. Some companies pay per project, others pay monthly retainers. And this is where income becomes predictable. Process documentation is never done. Businesses constantly change, new hires, new tools, new policies, new departments. Every change breaks documentation. So companies don't just pay to create processes, they pay to maintain them. In the US, ongoing retainers often range from $2,000 to $5,000 per month per client. With only a few retained clients, this becomes stable monthly income, without increasing workload at the same pace. Once systems exist, updates take hours, not weeks. That's why companies keep paying. They don't want to fall back into chaos. Now let's talk about who this is actually good for. This role doesn't reward charisma. It rewards clarity. Businesses don't want personality. They want consistency. People from backgrounds like operations, project management, admin, HR support, compliance, and internal operations adapt fast. If you're used to explaining work clearly, following systems, writing instructions others rely on, you already have the foundation. This doesn't require personal branding, public exposure, or selling yourself online. Clients don't care who you are, they care if the document works. Once trust is built, replacement is rare. That's how this becomes long-term, predictable work. Most people don't jump into this full-time. They build it quietly. One industry, one workflow type, one learning curve. They study real processes, not blogs. They build simple templates, clear structures, reusable formats. Early clients come from small teams and overwhelmed managers. Outreach is honest. This is what I document. This is what I don't. This is how it helps. No hype, no guarantees. The first client proves the skill. The second builds confidence. The third creates momentum. But this isn't for everyone. If you need excitement, this will feel slow. If you avoid detail, this will feel heavy. If you want applause, this will feel invisible. Accuracy matters. One unclear step can break a workflow. You document reality, not opinions. This isn't viral. Growth comes from trust, not speed. And that responsibility is exactly why businesses pay. And why this role doesn't disappear? This isn't a trend, it's a function. Businesses don't scale on ideas alone. They scale on repeatable work. Process documentation doesn't get attention, but it gets paid. Now I want your honest view. Does this feel like a practical, underrated opportunity? Or does it feel too structured for how you think? Share your perspective in the comments. And if this kind of real, grounded work matters to you, you already know what to do next.